body of Christ and also the upcoming generation to position themselves well as far as the world is moving towards, where it's moving towards, in a very remarkable way.
Alors, nous sommes vraiment reconnaissants d'avoir au milieu de nous cet homme de Dieu qui fait beaucoup pour les enfants de Dieu aujourd'hui.
You see, anything about human settlement
Quand on parle des êtres humains et du bien-être,
requires certain level of skills and understanding.
ça requiert un certain niveau de talent et de compréhension.
And if you don't have what it takes to be able to know how to move from one step to another, you always struggles.
Et si tu n'es pas capable d'aller d'un point A à un point B, tu vas toujours souffrir.
And church is about people.
Et l'église, c'est le peuple.
And it's about properties.
Et c'est aussi des propriétés.
And it's about a lot of resources.
Il s'agit aussi de beaucoup de ressources.
And so in order for you to maximize your ability to put things in its rightful place, you need certain skills and understanding.
Alors pour que vous ayez l'habilité, la capacité de maximiser votre potentiel, vous avez besoin de certains talents.
This man is one of the youngest chartered accountant in our country.
C'est l'un des plus jeunes experts comptables de ce pays.
Works for a very renowned company, Coca-Cola company.
Et il travaille pour cette compagnie que tout le monde connaît.
By virtue of his impact, Coca-Cola company has put him on jurisdiction of sub-Sahara West African countries under him.
Et à cause de ses capacités, on l'a promu à un niveau, au niveau de...
West Africa countries.
Ici dans l'Afrique de l'Ouest, dans les pays de l'Afrique de l'Ouest.
And at times goes beyond that to Europe and other places for very top level meetings and other insightful conferences in relation to Coca-Cola company and where they are heading towards.
Et très souvent, il a des voyages d'affaires au nom de la compagnie de Coca-Cola.
At times we wonder why these giant companies, they are not Christian based, and yet they have survived for years and they are keeping on surviving.
Parfois, on se demande ces grandes compagnies qui ne sont pas chrétiennes, mais qui ont du succès.
It's all about these things you are about to hear.
C'est parce qu'elles sont basées sur ce que nous allons entendre aujourd'hui.
And so he's highly favored and highly graced by God.
Alors, il est beaucoup favorisé par Dieu.
And he's also impacting the church.
Et il est en train d'impacter l'église.
The youth, the young
Les
entrepreneurs. And so today we are highly favored and highly grateful to God for bringing such a man to us.
Alors aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment une grâce pour nous de pouvoir le recevoir ici.
So please, let's be on our feet.
Alors tenons-nous debout.
Help me, let's welcome
Et accueillons
Mr. Deacon Daniel Debrah to come and be a blessing to you. Come on, put your hands together.
On va les mains pour le recevoir.
Hallelujah. 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 Please, can you hear me? Hallelujah. Amen. Please, kindly be seated.
Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît.
Bishop, thank you so much. I'm highly privileged. I feel so privileged when I see my papa introducing me because it takes me way back to some years when I had just completed senior high school. That is way back about 20 years. And I joined the church, and through his ministry, by the grace of God, it has taken me to places. Please help me, let's salute my papa.
C'est un privilège pour moi d'être introduit par mon papa parce que ça me ramène des années en arrière.
God richly bless you, Daddy. This morning, you are going to be blessed.
Ce matin, nous serons bénis.
And I would also like to thank all the speakers that have already delivered their sermon. I was kind of monitoring, getting feedback, and it was so fantastic. God bless them wherever they are.
Je bénis tous ceux qui m'ont précédé.
And I believe this session too, you are going to enjoy very well.
Et j'espère que vous allez aussi apprécier cette section.
And most of my sessions, those that have been attending, the conferences, I do more of finance, and I touch on issue of how you can manage the church finance well, and I give certain predictions, and some even call me financial prophet, which I'm not comfortable because the word prophet is very strong.
Alors moi, je parle beaucoup de la finance dans l'église.
But I just use the knowledge and the experience, and I predict. I said that the NDK, the Justa Motors, the NAM1 one, how do you call it? The NAM1's one, the popular one, men's good. You know, I said that the men's good, the clients will not receive their money. I said that about 3 years ago. And as we stand, have they received it? And I gave instances why they cannot receive it. And I told you also that, if you recall, that another one will come. And I gave instances why it will come. Right? But today you see me in a different way. I won't do those predictions. By the grace of God, next year we'll do what we call financial literacy, which is also very, very important. So we are going to lay the foundation today, so that once you understand you get a foundation very well. When you do financial literacy in details, you understand it. I hope you are following. All right.
Alors,
so thank you so much.
J'utilise ma connaissance et mon expérience pour pouvoir enseigner sur certaines personnes et prédire certaines choses, comme certaines compagnies qui ne vont pas perdurer dans le temps.
And the reason why some of these things is very important to get exposed is that this men's go thing, when you go into it critically, the chunk of the people who were found wanted was church money. There were some churches that they sent their money there to gain returns, and it backfired. And there were people who are top class literates, like the doctors, the professors, right? So when they come to financial literacy, it's not like I have this degree, I have that. No, it's a special knowledge you need to get. And most of them, you can go to Confanachi. And I said it, my cousin was a victim. You know, he didn't consult me. He said when he came from China, he had completed his PhD. When he came from China, he realized all the doctors were doing it. So he also did it. I hope you understand how. So these things are very important. So I want to lay some foundation, and then by next year, God willing, we would delve in details into, so that some of these mistakes, we don't do it. Because it's very painful. Your hard-earned money, and then this small one Ghana church money, you organize them, and somebody will just sit down and use his own intelligence just to dupe you. It's very painful. So we will do that by the grace of God next year.
Alors, quand on parle de finances, il faut savoir qu'il ne suffit pas d'être éduqué, d'avoir de grands diplômes pour ne pas se faire gruger. On peut avoir un grand diplôme et se faire gruger. Donc, il faut faire attention.
Right. So, you are going to enjoy this section very well. I'm very confident.
Vous allez apprécier cette session, j'en suis sûr.
No, I think it's frozen. Okay. All right, so it's working. Very good. So it's working now. So, we are going to have two sections. The first session will deal with how to generate business idea.
Nous allons avoir deux sections. La première, c'est comment générer des idées de business.
And the second session will have to do with some word of wisdom that help us shape our life. And they are based on the principles of Christ, which the unbelievers are using. They are making it in life. And we, the believers, are sitting down, watching them, making it, and controlling us. So we look at that session would open our mindset on certain opportunities that are there, so that it will shape our level of thinking.
Et la deuxième session va consister en des opportunités que Christ a mis en nous, sur lesquelles nous pouvons nous baser pour réussir.
All right. So as usual, usually when I start with some perceptive pictures, and the idea is to try to let us come together. So that whilst we were coming, if something was bothering our mind, at least we can shift our mind here, and then we can concentrate. So if you just look at the image, and then you tell us anything that you can see from the board, you can just tell us.
Je travaille beaucoup avec les images. Alors regardez l'image qui est au tableau et dites ce que vous voyez.
So the microphone can be around. So
Le
that
micro va passer.
within 2 minutes we should finish this thing.
En 2 minutes, nous allons terminer.
Yeah, so there's a hand here, so if you can give it to him.
Thank you. I've seen a tree.
A tree, okay.
Under the tree, the right side is like either a tiger or a lion.
Okay.
And then the left side is either a baboon or it looks like a monkey, but that's how it looks like. And it looks like a baboon is angry.
Angry.
And the lion is just looking at the baboon.
Okay.
So at the top of the tree, there are some two birds flying.
Two birds flying, go.
That's what I can see.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Please, anybody again? Let's clap for you. He's done well. Please, anybody see anything again?
I also saw plenty birds at the back of the tree. Thank
Okay.
you.
Apart from what he said, is there any other thing that anybody is seeing? Yes, I can see one hand here quickly so that we just move.
Yeah, I can also see that it's like the tree is suspending on the air.
Okay. And the last one, and then we move on. Can somebody see a kokopan like the kotoko, that animal kotoko uses?
At the
Yes.
stem of the tree,
Can we see
the
that?
stem, the white place, I can see a human face,
A human face.
two
Oh.
eyes, nose, mouth, and 2 ears.
Okay. So, yeah. So that's what he's seeing. And then the kokopan, I will say, look at this, the mouth, this is the head. Okay. All right. So it tells us that when you see something, we need to just go beyond it. You don't just look at it. Sometimes we look at things and we comment on it without thinking beyond what the thing actually stands for. Right. So that was just to help us bring our minds here. All right. So thank you so much.
Alors chacun a dit ce qu'il voyait, les animaux, l'arbre et les oiseaux et tout. Et il y a quelqu'un qui a dit qu'il voyait l'image d'une personne dans cette image-là.
So this is the presentation outline. This is how it's going to look like.
C'est
We
ce
look
que nous
at
allons aborder.
the background to the presentation. We have the definition of idea. We look at the types of ideas. We look at generating business ideas. We look at factors affecting idea generation. We look at how, once you are talking of business, quite apart from working for the company, I also have my own consultancy firm that I do.
En plus de travailler,
I would-
j'ai aussi ma propre entreprise de
So
consultation.
I will try and then also give my experience, how I started it practically, so that it's not like a theory, but something that has been learned, the knowledge acquired and has been implemented. So I'll try to share that one too.
Et notre compagnie fait beaucoup dans la pratique.
And then you get some takeaways. The takeaways are the things that at least if you forget about everything, those are the things that you shouldn't forget. Those are the takeaways. So you take that one to home. All right. So please, this slide is very important. If you understand this slide very well, you'll be able to pay attention to whatever is going on.
Alors prêtons vraiment attention parce que c'est très important ce que nous allons voir.
So the question is, why that chosen topic?
Alors pourquoi avons-nous choisi ce sujet?
And that is the background to the presentation. The reason why this topic was chosen was that, one, it is idea that rules the world.
Alors nous sommes basés sur ce sujet parce que ce sont les idées qui font régner le monde.
This COVID that came, you realized that a lot of theories have come out and it's proving that it wasn't a natural thing, it was artificial. Human being, they went to the lab, they combined certain things together because they want to take control, and then they came out with the virus. I hope you understand. And imagine the Christians are taking over and we are at the top there. Do you think a Christian will do that? Right. So this presentation is going to provoke us. Our level of thinking must change.
Nous voyons que le Covid, par exemple, ce n'est pas quelque chose de naturel, mais c'est quelque chose qui a été préparé dans le but de créer des problèmes. Alors si nous, les chrétiens, nous prenons la tête, nous allons éviter ce genre de situation.
And the second thing that also influenced the presentation, the second one is that Joseph became a prime minister as a result of his idea.
Joseph est devenu premier ministre dans un pays étranger à cause de ses idées.
Not his ability to interpret dream.
Et non sa capacité à interpréter les rêves.
Because there were a lot of people in Egypt who could do that.
Parce que plusieurs personnes en Égypte pouvaient le faire.
But his ability to interpret and offer solution to the problem, that gave him that opportunity. to
Mais
become
sa
a prime
capacité d'analyser, d'apporter une
If you
solution au
want to
problème,
clap,
c'est ce
you
qui
can
l'a envoyé
clap.
là. Applaudissez.
So that's why I'm saying that it's a thought-provoking. We are going to provoke ourselves. There are certain
Alors,
things we are going to change it.
Ce thème-là, c'est pour nous booster à changer les choses.
And the third one is that the 14th economic plan was that the first 7 years of lean season, that is scarcity, and the next 7, which has to do with abundance. So what do you do in that period? When you go in details, I will explain that.
Nous allons expliquer beaucoup de choses plus en détail plus tard.
So the fourth one is, according to the top gurus guys, the guys that are leading in terms of employment, they are saying that currently, you don't need to wait for an employer to rise you to a certain level of the ladder. The ladder is in your hands. You have to create it.
De nos jours, on dit qu'on n'a pas besoin d'attendre que son employeur nous fasse grimper les échelons. C'est à nous-mêmes de le faire.
So if you have completed university, you have gotten a job doing, you have started as a lesson supervisor, you are waiting that the employer will promote you. He's saying that the future, that should not be the thing we should look out for. The future is that you create the ladder yourself. And creating the ladder means trying to create your own business. That is what it means.
Après avoir terminé l'université et quand tu commences à travailler, ne t'attends pas à ce que ce soit ton patron qui te
And then
fasse
the
grimper.
point number 4 is saying that, I did a research and I was checking the top 10 richest men in the world.
J'ai essayé de trouver l'homme le plus riche du monde.
And I
Les
read
10 hommes.
And I read about their background, what they do. I couldn't find any salary earner in it.
Et j'ai lu leurs histoires et je n'ai jamais vu de traces de salaire.
It means that you cannot be a salary earner and be the richest person.
Ce qui signifie que tu ne peux pas être un salarié et être le plus riche du monde.
Please, let's understand this slide very, very well. If you
Comprenons
understand
ce
it very well,
concept.
when you move into it, you will not miss any of the slide.
Alors concentrez-vous.
And then the last one is that sometimes the take home that we say the net pay, it doesn't even take us home, let alone taking us to the month. Am I lying? Good. Because there's a time you realize that the expenditure level that is coming, that same month the school fees is coming. That same month your cousin has been admitted to the hospital. That same month, and there's a need, there are needs that you need to. The paste is finished. That's the day that the paste will also get finished. Right? And you realize that the take home that was given to you, it couldn't even take you home because you have already spent it in advance. So for that reason, if you have multiple streams of income, when that situation probably you are found yourself in that situation, you should be able to manage yourself. That is why it is very important to have multiple streams of income.
Alors il est très important d'avoir plusieurs sources de revenus à la fois.
So these are the 5 key things that influence the presentation.
C'est sur les 5 points là que la
We are
présentation est
going to
basée.
challenge ourselves very, very well.
Nous allons prêter attention à tout cela.
So to start with, we talk of per the structure I gave, you say what is an idea, the definition of idea, and it says that ideas are solutions to problems trapped in the mind.
Alors une idée c'est une solution à un problème.
It's very deep. It is a solution to problems trapped in the mind.
C'est la solution à un problème qui vient dans la pensée.
And you and I know that in Africa we have the most problems than the developed countries.
Et l'Afrique est le pays avec le plus de problèmes.
If that is the case, it means there are a lot of opportunities in Africa.
Ce qui signifie qu'il n'y a pas d'opportunités.
That's why the Chinese, the Europeans, they keep on coming. What do you think? They come here for fun.
Il y a beaucoup d'opportunités ici en Afrique. C'est pourquoi les autres pays s'y intéressent.
So let's look at the types of ideas that we have.
Regardons au type d'idées qu'on a.
So that once you have that perspective, you can be able to understand the kind of idea. The first one is the creative idea.
Nous avons les idées créatives.
The creative idea, and it looks, this is an idea created to look different as if they did not exist before.
Et ces idées, on a l'impression qu'elles n'avaient jamais existé auparavant.
Example is the Facebook.
Exemple, le Facebook.
And the CEO of Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg,
Et celui à qui ça appartient, c'est Mark
the
Zuckerberg,
richest young man in the world.
le plus jeune créateur dans le monde.
And how did it start?
Et comment ça a commencé?
When you get down, I will explain how it
Je vais
started.
l'expliquer plus tard.
The second one is a strategic idea.
Ensuite, on a une idée stratégique.
The strategic idea is where you can predict and know that, no, if I design this product or if I do this in the next 2-3 years, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Et dans ce sens-là, c'est quand on peut faire des prédictions.
So in your prayer and your engagement with God, these are kind of prayers we should be praying.
Alors, pendant ta prière, c'est le genre de prière que tu dois faire.
Right, so when we say it is the blessing of it's God's blessing that maketh a man rich, it means that having the blessing is not richness. But when the blessing comes, it opens your mind for you to be able to move to a certain level that will give you the opportunity to create wealth.
Quand on dit que la bénédiction de Dieu, c'est la bénédiction de Dieu qui rend riche, ça ne veut pas dire que c'est la bénédiction qui est la richesse, mais la bénédiction
very, very, very,
envoie
very
la
important.
richesse.
So the third one has to do with competitive idea.
Ensuite, nous avons les idées compétitives.
The competitive idea, this one you build in response to your competitor's idea.
C'est le fait de surpasser ses compétiteurs.
So I took an example like when Malcolm came first, and then they put up their signboard. Game also came there, and then they said that at game you don't. I said that at the Malcolm we don't play what games, and then for instance, if you are in part of the strategic team, you have mounted your platform, your billboard, big one, and then somebody has also come to mount the same thing and say that at game you don't play games. So what you also say at Malcolm you don't play games. That's what they said. Say that he hasn't mentioned your name, but you know that this thing it is against me. So how do you respond to that? You also put up something and then you say, where we don't play games, but we play tricks. I've also not mentioned your name. The same place.
Alors, c'est la compétition dans le business. Quand ton compétiteur fait une publicité à ton encontre sans te mentionner, toi aussi fais la même chose. Utilise une ruse pour le surpasser.
So these are the kind of ideas that should come. And then the fourth one is a complementary idea.
Ensuite, nous avons les idées complémentaires.
That is where I have my idea, your idea, you put them together.
C'est
and
quand
then it
chacun
becomes
de nous
solid.
a une idée et nous nous mettons ensemble.
And a typical example is Dell and then Microsoft.
Un exemple, c'est Microsoft et puis Dell.
So like this laptop I'm using, if I buy it fresh, I can't use it unless I put some installation on it, unless I install something. Until I install a software, I can't use it.
Cet ordinateur portable, je ne peux pas l'utiliser sans software.
So Dell is a different company, Microsoft is a different company. So you buy this and you buy that and then it becomes serve one purpose.
Alors,
So
c'est
that's
deux
a
compagnies
complementary.
différentes qui font des services complémentaires.
And a simple example is those that are into catering. If you are selling fried yam, you know that fried yam goes with pork meat, fried one. So you can deal with the fried yam. You talk to your friend, also come and set up a pork joint. So the person buys fried yam, he buys what? Pork meat. I hope you understand. See what? It's a complementary idea.
Si par exemple tu vends des yams grillés, tu peux t'associer à quelqu'un qui vend du porc.
I'm giving simple examples so that once you sit down and you reflect on them, when
Ce
I
sont les
finish,
cinq exemples sur lesquels on peut réfléchir.
I'll make the slides available. There are certain things because of time I may skip them, but when you read, they are very simple. You just sit down, decode, and then try to implement them.
Quand on va finir, je vais donner la leçon entière.
And then the fifth one is God-given idea.
Et ensuite, nous avons des idées qui viennent de Dieu.
And this is when you listen to most of the musicians, say, "Oh, how did you come about with your song?" Says, "Oh, actually, I was dreaming or I was sleeping. God gave me those words, or maybe I was studying the Bible, and then it came."
Et on voit beaucoup cela au niveau des chantres
So-
qui dit Dieu m'a révélé ce
and-
texte-là.
And there are a lot of gospel musicians who have made money out of that.
Et il y a beaucoup de
They've
musiciens
made money
de
out of
gospel
that.
qui font ce genre de choses.
It was a God-given idea.
C'est une idée qui vient de Dieu.
So we move straight away to the next, per the slide I gave. The next one was how to generate a business idea. And the
Ensuite,
first
nous allons
one,
parler de comment générer une idée dans le business.
and I did few search and I realized that this guy, Takiana Atimova, I think he did a very fantastic work on that area. So I decided to fall on his materials and then I put few things together.
Alors, j'ai étudié ce qu'un homme a déjà étudié.
And he gave 11. We are going to go to the 11 steps. And I used one of them out of the 11 to create my business.
Et je vais vous donner 11 différents points. Et c'est sur l'un de ces points que je me suis basé pour créer mon
And the
business.
first one, this is what he's saying. He said that become inquisitive.
Le premier, c'est de devenir inquisitif.
That means you need to involve yourself in the things that go on in the environment.
Alors, tu vas t'adapter aux choses qui t'entourent dans ton
You sit in a
environnement.
trotro, whatever is going on, you watch.
Donc, quand tu es dans un véhicule, tu regardes ce qui se passe autour de toi.
There are hot news. You just pick them and then you can get an idea from those hot news.
Quand tu écoutes les informations, tu retiens ce qui va t'aider.
And then there was this research work that actually I was, this social media, I saw a video where there's this guy called Hineba also. He was saying that some research took place some years ago and the white guys, they came and then they realized that Africa, and most especially Ghana, our teeth is whitish. And then also it lasts longer. So somebody will be like 70 years, but you can find all the 35 or 32 teeth, everything, not even single one removed. So they did a research and they realized that it was, we were using body tray, right? When we peel the plantain, that stick, and then we were grinding it and then adding charcoal to it. That's what we use to what? Clean our teeth. So they said that was the contributing factor to that. So when I saw that research, I said, this is an opportunity. I told my wife that no, somebody should be able to move into a toothpaste which would reflect on something that research has proven. And when I told my wife, within 6 months, some companies started doing it. And that is when you go to the market, that is the most expensive space compared to the normal one that we have. Right? So when you were available to certain hot news and certain things, when you are watching, don't just watch. Or when you are listening, you watch and you listen beyond the normal. And through that, God will give you those ideas.
Alors, il y a des recherches qui ont prouvé qu'ici en Afrique, les dents ont une plus longue durée, restent le plus longtemps blanc possible. Alors, il y a des gens ils ont fait la recherche, ils ont trouvé ce qui était la cause de cela. Et d'autres personnes se sont basées là-dessus pour créer une pâte dentifrice. C'est ça, avoir une idée.
And the second point out of the 11 says that we need to focus on problem.
Le deuxième, c'est de se focaliser sur les problèmes.
Focusing on problem. You see, successful business ideas solve real problem. I think I've mentioned it. And he says that problems are what? Opportunities in what? In disguise.
Les problèmes, ce sont des opportunités déguisées.
You see, you have to learn about problems that people face in the daily life.
Regardons aux problèmes quotidiens.
Western Union came as a result of people not being honest when they are giving money to be sent to their relatives. That's why Western Union came, and then now you give you the code, you go to bank, and then you take your money.
Western Union est venu parce qu'il y avait des gens qui étaient victimes en envoyant leur argent depuis l'étranger.
The Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, that we mentioned his name, I think it came mainly because he realized that there are people after school, when they leave, your old schoolmates, you don't find them. Because at that time, you're not even using phones. You don't find them. So how then do you connect, even if your classmates 20, 30 years ago? So he started to solve that problem, and then he came out with that app.
L'idée de Facebook est venue pour mettre fin aux séparations qui avaient lieu quand les gens quittaient l'école ou les villes et tout.
Focusing on problem.
On se focalise sur le problème. Quel est le problème et on apporte la solution.
Right now, the MTN that has now Momo, MTN Momo, that now the most topical issue, the e-levy. You know how it came about. They try to solve a problem. When you go to the bank, some people, they are not even literate. You sign your signature, they say, no, that's not the signature we are seeing on the screen. You do this, that. You go and there's a queue. So they realize that why don't you solve that problem by coming out with Momo? So that I just sit in the comfort of my chair. I'll just send. I'll just test and then have it. So they also use the same concept of problem solving.
L'idée de mobile money est venue à cause des différents problèmes que les gens rencontraient dans les banques.
And then now their move is actually pushing the bank so much that the banks are just confused.
Et maintenant même, ils sont en train de concurrencer au plus haut niveau les banques.
That's why the government saw the movement, the cash movement, and they said, now I want to come with e-levy.
C'est pourquoi le gouvernement est en train de tout faire pour les rattraper.
Because he thinks that the e-levy is an opportunity to get money there.
Parce qu'ils ont vu que c'est une opportunité de se faire la
Forgetting that somebody's idea who will focus by way of solving a problem, now the government wants to enjoy.
Oublions que l'idée est venue de quelqu'un qui a remarqué un problème, mais le gouvernement veut en profiter.
I am someone who don't actually do politics, but then even though I vote, but I speak my mind objectively. When there are issues, I speak my other platforms, I speak, and the people I say, this guy NDC and NPP, you can't see where the guy belongs to. Why? Because I speak to the issues. I don't move, and I think I need to state this. We, the literate or the voters, we have made the politicians divide us, and they are playing our minds. Until we decide that no, we are going to hold them accountable and want to speak to the issues as it is, we will still be the same MPP and DC, and nothing will change. Nothing, virtually nothing is going to change.
Moi, je ne suis pas un politicien, mais je dis les choses telles qu'elles sont.
Right. The e-levy thing, there's something that's, with all the discussion, I think in one of the professional platforms, I raised it and I said that what actually influenced the Momo, right, is that at the MTN level, right, the telcos, what they do is that there's something called the cap amount. And that cap amount, what it means is that at a certain level, when you transfer money, the maximum is 10 Ghana cedis. And I know most of us, we don't know. So for instance, if I want to transfer 2,000 Ghana cedis on my wallet, MTN will take just 10 Ghana cedis. It's not 20. But when you go to the vendor, because you don't know, today I'm telling you, because you don't know, they will tell you if I send it 2,000, for each 1,000, I'll take 10 cedis. It's not true. So if the person is doing that, just tell him that put it on my wallet. When the person puts it on my wallet, you send it. The deduction will be what? Just 10 cedis. If you send 5,000, it is 10 cedis. So it is that cap amount. Cap amount means there's a ceiling. That beyond, it doesn't become variable. The variable means as and when it moves according to the rates, right? And in all the discussion, the e-levy discussion, I have not seen that part being discussed, right? So I raised that part on the platform. The guy said, this thing you are saying is very, very important. So I did analysis, and I said that assuming I'm doing a project for someone, and the person sends me money, 5,000, and I send it to let's say the mason, I'm charged just 10 cedis out of the 5,000. Now, if e-levy is implemented, I'm going to pay almost 200 Ghana cedis. Do you think I will send the money? I rather prefer that he will come, take a taxi, come for the money, and then go and use it. So those are the things that it will worsen the inflows, right? And we were just focusing on just the rate. The rate is too big. Let's make it 1% or no. Apart from the rate, they just had a minimum. So that is a trick they said. It's okay. A minimum of 100 cedis, you know, be charged. But what about the maximum? So that was the missing link. And I raised that point, and they said that this is a very good point. So sometimes you need to show concern, right? Because you vote them, you need to make them accountable for our votes, right? And you need to speak objectively. You don't just follow that, it's my party. No, there's nothing like my party. So until we move, we change. That's why I say it's a mindset change. Unless we change that mindset, we can never progress.
Alors, il a expliqué des thèmes techniques concernant le mobile money et comment le gouvernement se joue des gens.
So that is a problem. And then I said that in one of the Word of Wisdom, for those that are following me on social media, every Monday I send Word of Wisdom.
Pour ceux qui sont sur les réseaux sociaux, chaque matin, j'envoie une parole de sagesse.
And by the grace of God, it's impacting a lot of life. Muslims, Christians, unbelievers, and it's a strategy. I mixed it with a couple of philosophy, psychology, taxation, corporate governance, aspect of strategic management, and then I'll push in the Word of God. So that it's not like a one-way thing. And it's a strategy I'm using, and by the grace of God, it's impacting a lot of life.
C'est un ensemble de plusieurs choses et dans laquelle je glisse une parole de Dieu pour pouvoir impacter beaucoup de personnes.
And I've dedicated the whole session for that. So that's the second session. Just to explain, I picked about 5 out of 40 episodes I've done.
Alors nous allons parler des 5 points plus tard.
So in one of the quotes, I said that your ability to offer solution to problem determines how far you go in life. Joseph did not become a prime minister or a vice president of Egypt because he could interpret Pharaoh's tough dream. It was his ability to offer solution to the problem in the dream. That is the 14-year economic plan. So therefore, we need to sharpen our problem-solving skill by investing in what? Knowledge. Just as you are doing today.
Alors ta capacité à solutionner des problèmes va déterminer là où tu vas arriver dans la vie.
And when I put this thing on LinkedIn, I got more than 300 views, and the comments were so fantastic.
Et ça m'a apporté beaucoup de vues et les commentaires étaient fantastiques.
Okay, so the third one out of the 11 is
Le troisième point,
we need to explore.
nous devons explorer.
Now, we talk of social media for everything that is introduced. Now, the technology is ruling the world, whether we like it or not. It's either you need to adapt or adopt.
La technologie a beaucoup évolué partout dans le monde. Alors, ça nous aide nous adapter.
So, if there are issues that are on the social media that are trendy, which we think they are godly, you would have to follow them. And through that, you can create and get some business ideas from there.
Alors, il faut regarder à ce qui se passe sur les réseaux sociaux et essayer de trouver une idée dans ces choses.
And then the fourth one is travel more. When you travel.
Ensuite, voyager beaucoup.
So the traveling, if you have the opportunity to go outside the country, it's fine. But if not, and within, you try to make sure you travel. And as you travel, you see a lot of opportunities there.
Si vous avez la possibilité d'aller à l'extérieur du pays, faites-le. Mais si ce n'est pas le cas, voyagez à l'intérieur et vous aurez beaucoup d'opportunités.
And then in one of my visits to Casablanca, I saw something that is common, but in Ghana, I hardly see it.
J'ai visité Casablanca et j'ai vu quelque chose que je n'ai pas jamais vu ici au Ghana.
So what they were doing was that you see, it's a local stand where on the truck, the normal truck, as we see a truck, the one we push, you see fruits being put on all varieties of fruits. And then they have it's a manual squeezer. So you just tell the seller the one you want. Then he will squeeze it fresh. Then you take it.
Ok, ils ont des pousse-pousse là, ils mettent les fruits dedans. Et quand tu viens, tu choisis le fruit que tu veux et on fait ton jus de fruits sur place.
Over here, it's not common unless you go to the elite joints, like the restaurant, the top, and those places are expensive.
Ici, c'est dans les grands restaurants seulement qu'on voit cela et c'est cher.
So we are telling us that we should eat more fruit because it's good for our health. But that place, you can't go and buy it there.
On nous dit de manger beaucoup de fruits parce que c'est bon pour la santé, mais on n'arrive pas à les acheter.
Some of us too, eating it raw, sometimes we don't enjoy the taste. We want it squeezed.
Parfois aussi, le manger comme ça directement, on ne l'aime pas,
And you don't have
on
the
veut
time.
le jus.
You don't have the time to squeeze too.
Et on n'a pas le temps de faire du jus.
So why don't you take that opportunity and
Alors
then fill
pourquoi
that
ne pas
down?
se saisir de cette opportunité-là?
Right. So those are some of the things. And then I met a youth group through an empowerment, capacity building empowerment, and I was telling them that when you are a graduate and you tell me you have been in the house for 3 years, you haven't gotten a job, you are not a serious person.
J'ai rencontré un groupe de personnes et je leur ai dit, après l'université, si tu as fait 3 ans à la maison, c'est que tu n'es pas quelqu'un de
At
sérieux.
the interview level, we should be able to demonstrate to the interviewers that you have put in place certain things. At least you yourself, you have created something. Just demonstrate that you have created, and even if it failed, they know that you are serious.
Quand tu vas à une interview pour du travail et que tu dois montrer à certaines personnes que toi-même tu as développé certaines choses par toi-même.
And I gave an instance of this idea that I saw. You know, we have, when you go to food joints, you have tilapia joints, say point and kill. You see point and kill. So once there's that point and kill concept that is there, why don't you also come up with something like point and squeeze? Because Ecclesiastes chapter 1:9 says that there's nothing new under the sun. So if you have started something and a copy, there's no problem.
La Bible dit que toute chose, rien n'est nouveau sur la terre. Alors si tu as vu une bonne idée quelque part, tu peux aussi la copier.
The only time copying is offensive is during examination. Apart from examination, any copying is a good. I just copy
La
intelligently.
tricherie,
that's
c'est
all.
seulement dans les salles d'examen. En dehors de ça, tu peux tricher.
So I said, you just get your joint. You have your stuff. As a beautiful first degree graduate, you get some nice shorts. No about sneakers, neat one. No about apron, white one. And then you get, after your apron, you are neatly dressed. And then you get your fruit. How much does it cost to buy the fruit? You get your fruit, you get the squeezer, you can have the manual, you can have the electronic one. If you have something that was 7,000 cedis, you know what? Because some of them, the iPhone they are using is even more than 7,000. So why can't you buy that thing like 700 or 1,000 cedis? Then you start something. Once you start, and then you see you clean the environment, you see V8 coming to buy. And then you brand this point and what? Point and squeeze. You see V8 coming to buy. You get some ice cube, nice one. You start. And then these days too, you don't need to go to the media for advertisement. The social media is there. Just get a camera, start, float it. The media guys will come and interview you. I hope you understand. So that's what I'm saying, that the opportunities are there. Only that they are not exposed to those opportunities. And I did that, and somebody says he's going to start it. And I believe the person is going to make it big time. There are several ideas. When I drive around, I see a lot of things, a lot of opportunities, and I see, and people don't see. Sometimes I get worried. Right now, my problem is time. I've downloaded a document in my folder that if I get 12 hours continuous to go through, I can make money out of that. Time is my enemy. And I see people having enough time, I get a bit worried.
Moi, j'ai pas assez de temps, mais j'ai beaucoup d'idées. Par exemple, tu peux être, après l'université, tu peux monter ton business de vente de fruits étant dans un environnement vraiment très sain. Tu vas attirer l'attention des gens.
And then also, like cucumber. I think when I went to, Guinea Conakry, I saw this cucumber. You know, doctors are saying that cucumber is good because the water in the cucumber is good. We have heard it.
On vend les bienfaits du concombre.
So you just buy, sometimes it comes when you buy 1 Ghana, it's like a full bucket of this thing, 1 Ghana.
Et ça ne coûte pas cher.
So why don't you start by just peel it off, you just slide it, you package it nicely, and then on the street, during the traffic, there are these big guys who they don't have time to go to the market. And when you say they just want for 3 cedis, you make money.
Alors tu peux
Then you
faire
start
un
to brand
business.
it. Then you start to, there are a lot of opportunities that are there. There's something I saw in Liberia, they call ginger chips. It's just the ginger, and then they add some honey to it, and then when you chew, you realize that it's sweet, but it's painful. But they're saying that it's very good for the waist, right? And in Ghana, you know, the things that sell are either a medicine or alcohol that help you to perform very well in bed. That is, you can open the listen to radio. This advert will come. But since we are Christian, we can't go to the alcoholic. So why don't you take advantage of what? Of the medicinal bit, which is natural. And ginger is also natural. You think aloud. There are a lot of opportunities that are there.
On peut faire des chiffres de gingembre comme c'est fait dans certains pays et ça va marcher.
It's just that we've not challenged ourselves enough.
C'est qu'on ne se lance pas les défis nous-mêmes.
And I can give several examples. I don't have to. I can
Il y a
give
plusieurs
several
exemples que je peux donner, c'est le temps qui manque.
Several. And then also the fifth one is saying that we build your network.
Il faut te construire une bonne connexion.
So building a network is very important because when you have a network, you get the people to receive free advice. Because the people have already gone ahead. And one thing that's helping me is that I always try to study people that are ahead of me. I study them very well. And there's a difference between studying and reading. I don't have to, I would always explain what is study and what is reading. And when you read 2 Timothy, I think 2:12 or 2:15, it tells you about, it gives you an idea. There are about two of the versions that use the word study, right? All the verses didn't use the word study. So I was trying to find out why the word study. So I studied further, and I realized that the word study is different from reading, right? I don't have time, but as you move along, I think you'll get it. So I make sure I'll go beyond. And if you are somebody that I feel I can tap something from you, I'll follow you either by distance or I'll just get closer to you. And you get those free advice because they've been there before. And they can share their experiences, what they went through in the field. So that based on what they went through in the field, when you get them, it doesn't mean that you don't fail, but it means that if you fail, you'll be able to have opportunity to move your way out.
Alors il faut s'entourer de personnes qui ont déjà une expérience. Comme ça, on peut apprendre de leurs expériences.
So the network is very, very important.
C'est très important.
And then the ideas that I talk about, you said you are a graduate. You have completed school. You've been in a house. First year, no work. Second year, no work. Third year, you said you are going to do your masters. You have done the masters. After masters, still no work. Now you spend like almost 5 years. You see, there is this thing called Google Form. You can even use the Google Form to make money. Google Form alone. And how does it work? It is used to outsource, and I'll demonstrate one here. You can outsource information. You can use it to do questionnaires, right? And then a lot of things. There are people who are already working. They are doing their master's, MBA. So you just identify the top university, University of Ghana, Ken University, and then USAP. Accra, we have about 3 or 4 universities, top universities. You go there, during weekends, people who have worked, they have experience, they are now coming to get their masters. You just get connected to them. Try to help them that in their thesis, you are going to help them. But before you do that, you also have to update yourself. You just go to, let's say, statistical department in your school. Then you learn a lot about research methodologies and those. You have to sharpen it, right? You need to deepen yourself so that you have the knowledge. You are more knowledgeable. So that if you're going to assist someone, you can do it. Some of them, they don't even have time to do their assignments. You take and then you do for them. And through that, you get a network. That's a smart move. And then you also get money. I know somebody, this is what he's doing. For 6 years, he says he's not going to work for anybody. He has been able to build a house, 4-bedroom house. He lives in. He said he's not going to work for anybody. There are a lot of opportunities that are there. A lot. They are countless. So that is just an opportunity. You can make money. You don't need capital to start it. You just need to learn, acquire the knowledge. And you can even learn it via YouTube or anything. Okay.
On peut aussi se servir de Google pour aider, par exemple, des gens qui sont à l'université à écrire leurs thèses et autres. Ça va générer aussi des revenus pour nous.
And the point that he says sometimes you just have to just relax the mind and then just be focused. You don't need to burden the mind. You just sit down. Sometimes it could be your quiet time or it could be maybe some retreats, and then you go and then you are just relaxing the mind. Through that, you can get the idea.
Parfois, il faut aussi se relaxer et se focaliser sur quelque chose.
And then point number 7, it says that analyze old ideas.
Ensuite, il faut analyser les idées précédentes, les anciennes idées.
But when you analyze the old ideas, what it means is that you would have to think about opportunities that you can improve it.
En faisant cela, tu penses aux opportunités que tu peux, sur lesquelles tu peux travailler. pour pouvoir évoluer ces choses.
And then China is a good example.
Et la Chine est bonne dans
They
ces
will
choses.
copy right now.
Ils vont copier.
They can do kente as if it's a Ghana kente.
Ils peuvent faire le kente comme si ça vient du Ghana ici.
They will copy for you right away
Ils vont copier de toi
because they believe that there's nothing new under the sun.
parce qu'ils croient qu'il n'y a rien de nouveau sous le soleil.
As you can see from Ecclesiastes 1:9. Number 8 says that you have to read more business books.
Il faut beaucoup lire.
And I gave out few business books for those that want to read. So I'll give out the materials. You just look at all those
Et
things.
j'ai donné des exemples de livres sur les affaires.
And one of the things that when you do the financial literacy, you will highlight on is the last one. That is the Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and then Sharon Lecter.
Ce sont des livres qu'on doit lire.
It's a fantastic book.
C'est vraiment fantastique.
So I have the video. I will share it for those that we ask to get your contact. I'll share it on the WhatsApp platform that will be created. Then you start, and when you read, you realize that it will change your mindset. Certain things that we that are accountants, we thought they were assets. When I read that book, I realized that those things are rather liabilities. They are not assets, and you understand what it means.
Il y a une vidéo que je vais partager avec ceux dont j'ai le numéro sur WhatsApp.
And then point number 9, it says you need to get new experience.
Et ensuite, vous devez obtenir de nouvelles expériences.
And then number 10, you focus on making life easier.
Il faut aussi se focaliser sur comment rendre la vie plus facile.
So this MTN used this combination of two, problem solving and then what? Focusing on what? Making life easier.
MTN se base sur la combinaison de deux
So you
choses.
can combine more
Résoudre
than
des
one.
problèmes et rendre la vie plus facile.
You can combine more than 1 point.
On
And
peut
then
combiner plus de 2 points.
number 11 says that use cut-up techniques.
Ensuite, le numéro 11, c'est d'utiliser une technique qui coupe.
And this one, it says that it lies in what? Cutting up words or phrases from one sentences and randomly combines it with other phrases to create what? A new sentence.
En fait, c'est le fait de couper, de prendre la moitié d'une phrase et la moitié d'une autre pour en faire une nouvelle phrase.
And Kwame Eugene is a very good example.
C'est comme on pourrait dire couper la poire en deux. Et Kwame Eugene est
You
un
copy
exemple.
right now.
Il va copier les sur les autres.
And he's making money out of it.
Et il se fait de l'argent.
I hope you understand.
Vous comprenez?
All right, so you look at other people too who also did something about. And there's one person called Candice Landau who also says that one, you solve things that may become problems. So that's a predictive one. The two, you turn a hobby or something you are passionate about into what? Into business. So if you like how to sew, you can think of how you can sew. And then this sewing thing, I know of a lady, I shared an idea with her. She's making money. She's a corporate lady. What she does is that she posts few things on her status as if she's a fashion designer. She has an ID, complimentary card. But she's able to identify seamstresses who are very good. So he gets the dress, she will post. And then she will put her margin on it. He has Okada guy who will deliver with a charge. And she's making a lot of money. She makes almost 10 times her salary. You only give her a needle and a thread to be a disaster. She's using her mind to chop money.
Ok, alors on peut tourner ses hobbies, sa passion en quelque chose pour se faire de l'argent.
And then the third one is you steal people's idea. That's what China does a lot.
Ensuite aussi, on peut voler les idées des autres. Et c'est ce que la Chine fait.
So we are looking at, when you follow through the structure, the outline, I said that you look at factors that affect idea generation. So if you only want to generate the idea, what are some of the things that affect the mind? And the first one is what we call it idea killers.
Nous allons regarder aux facteurs qui agissent sur les idées.
And
la
the second one is
génération d'idées.
idea stimulants.
Ensuite, nous avons les tueurs d'idées et les stimulants d'idées.
The idea killers are those things that will tell you 1 million reasons why it cannot be possible.
Les tueurs d'idées, c'est ceux-là même qui vont te dire les 1000 raisons pour que tu ne dois pas faire.
So for instance, the regulatory requirement, even if I want to register the product, FDA will be asking me this, they'll be asking me that, me this thing, I can't even do it.
Tu vas te dire si je veux le faire, ils vont me demander ceci, cela, c'est trop difficile.
And then the stimulants are those things that will give you positive vibes.
Et
It
les
gives you the
idées
encouragement.
stimulantes, c'est ce qui va te faire penser sur le côté positif.
So we need to be aware of these two things.
Sachez ces deux choses.
And then I want to share how my business started.
Je vais partager comment mon business a démarré.
And this is how it started. I came for a conference like this. After my charter, I wanted to become a member. So we went through orientation. And then as I said, I learn from people who are ahead of me. So when a prominent person comes to stand and give an advice, I don't joke. I write everything verbatim, not even I won't take it out. I write, and when I come, I'll make sure I try to practice and see whether it works. And I do that, and it's working.
J'ai assisté à une conférence et vous savez quelque chose, moi je retiens toujours les conseils qu'on me donne.
So if you want to start, usually start with the things that are around you, that at least you have certain knowledge.
Alors si tu veux commencer, entoure-toi de personnes qui ont de la connaissance.
So I realized that at the workplace, I used to help people with Excel when they have analysis problem. Then,
Yeah.
oh, Dan, Charlie, I have some problem. Can you help me? Even when I'm at lunch, they will just bring the laptop, then I'll help them.
J'ai remarqué qu'il y avait des personnes qui se connaissaient mieux en Excel dans mon travail, je les ai approchées.
At a point, somebody will tell you, oh, Charlie, this one, my boss says he wants my file to be very interactive. Can you help me so that my file will be interactive so they can present it at the management meeting? Then I try and I help them and it works.
Et j'ai commencé à m'exercer aussi.
So I started, I said, no, then why don't I commercialize it and make money out of this thing I'm doing?
J'ai dit, mais pourquoi ne pas me perfectionner et en faire un business?
So I started to update my knowledge in the area. That is the first thing. You need to get adequate insight in the area before you commercialize it.
Alors j'ai commencé à vraiment me former dans ce domaine.
So I started to learn, do a lot of research, read a lot of books, and then picking a lot of files. And I was learning between 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day.
J'ai
for 3
commencé à
months.
étudier de midi à 14h tous les jours.
You need to put in effort. Otherwise, you need to put
Nous
in the
devons faire
effort.
des efforts.
So when people were doing,
Pendant que les gens se reposaient.
that was the, at the midnight, that's where the sleeping is very sweet. I hope you
Et
attest
vous
to
savez
that.
qu'au milieu de journée, c'est là que le sommeil est doux.
And that was the time I had to prepare
Et c'est
myself.
là
for
que
that.
moi, je me préparais.
And when I came out, by the grace of God,
Et après cela,
it worked.
ça a marché
I
par la
didn't
grâce
have
de
I
Dieu.
didn't have to start with capital. That's what I'm saying. When you have the mindset that to start a business, you need a physical capital, you are getting it wrong.
Je n'ai même pas commencé avec un capital.
Some can start, inside the service, you can start without any money.
Il y a certaines choses dont on n'a pas besoin de capital.
And what actually pushed me was that I was denied of a package.
Et ce qui m'a poussé à le faire, c'est que
I got a promotion, and when at the interview level, they asked me how much probably I would take, and I quoted it. And the impression I got was that that's what had to be given to me. But when the appointment came, I was disappointed.
j'ai assisté à une interview et on m'a demandé ce que je voulais comme
So
salaire. Je
I
leur ai
started
dit.
thinking,
Mais ce qu'on m'a proposé
how do
m'a
I
fait
get
réfléchir.
additional income? So I
Alors je me
started
suis
thinking
demandé
aloud.
comment gagner encore plus d'argent.
Should I go and do part-time lecturing? Should I do this? So I was just thinking like
Je
that.
me demandais comment faire.
And then finally I landed that I need to commercialize this thing.
Et je me suis dit, laisse-moi commercialiser
So
ce que
until
j'ai
you're able
appris.
to move from your comfort zone,
Alors quand tu sors de ta zone de confort,
that idea you have can never materialize.
tant que tu ne sors pas de ta zone de confort, cette idée ne se matérialisera pas.
So it is very important. You need to note that one.
Il est vraiment très important de prendre note de ces choses.
Yeah. So that's how it started.
C'est comme ça que j'ai commencé.
I've been alerted that I have 5 minutes. So I've been able to do it within the time.
Mon temps est déjà presque achevé.
So thank you so much. Do you have questions, comments,
Alors
contributions?
merci si vous avez des questions, des commentaires et des contributions.
But then, for us to have a flow of the presentation, I would prefer that after you just note your questions down. After the second presentation, then you do all together, so that you ask questions from both, so that I can have enough time for the question and then answer and then comment session. So at this point, I would like us to just rise up. We are not going out. You just rise up, just stretch at least 5 minutes, and then we switch to the second
Alors, si
presentation.
vous avez des questions, notez-les. Ensuite, quand nous allons terminer la deuxième partie, nous
If
allons...
you enjoyed it, you can clap for the Lord.
Tenons-nous debout et acclamons le Seigneur.
Thank you. So we can do the. Okay, make sure.